What's going on, Jeromes? You got some Q's, we got some A's as the Vikings look to pick themselves up off the mat, which they will do this week. Jack Chang, Dontel's defense, did you find it annoying that they didn't try to adjust? And is it that we don't have the personnel to adjust? The game reminded me of Minnesota versus Green Bay, how it looked like Green Bay adjusted, blah, 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 blah. So it was extremely frustrating where they were just sitting back in coverage and the corners were off. And Peterson, after the game, he remarked that it insinuated that was part of the game plan, and they couldn't just freelance and adjust and go up and jam A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And it was really frustrating, man, because everyone's like, oh, Jalen Hurts played this great game. He did. Respect. Best game of his career. But the Vikings made it way too easy on him. They weren't getting pressure with 4. The Eagles have a great offensive line. And just sitting back and letting him pick you apart. And, like, accuracy-wise, he's still a work in progress, but he just had all day and wide open windows to throw to, and it was just extremely, extremely frustrating. Plains and gains. Do you think this loss to the Eagles could help us by lighting a fire under the team and maybe humble the team after a dominant win over the Packers? Yes. I think that there, to a degree, was an emotional hangover after the Packers win. Of course, you want to get hyped up for a big-time rival game, starting off a new era with a bang. Fantastic, but you got humbled. Now back to the drawing board. You're not going to go undefeated in this league. It doesn't happen, so they got after it. Meat sauce. Would you ever consider bringing back the Hot Dish series? One of my favorites that you've done, and I think it would be a great morale boost. Possibly pick and choose a couple weeks here and there. It is fun to do, but it is a massive time suck, and this time of year, especially as the kids are getting older, it's tough to juggle time management-wise. Eloy and Zulada. Do you think Kirk will be able to bounce back from this game, especially after such a high the week before? Yes. I mean, Kirk's had plenty of bad games where he's able to come back, where getting behind the Eagles in terms of game script, where it had to be pass, certainly didn't do him any favors. Plus, I think Kirk realized, like, hey, I can't be this frustrated. All of those drives that ended inside the Eagles 30, we could have had field goals. It could have been a different game towards the end. Robert Barweiler. With the Vikings looking slow against the Eagles, do you think we'll start seeing some more playing time for the young guys, i.e. Seen, Rager, Asamoah? I think that Brian Asamoah should be in for Jordan Hicks right now. Or I understand that Jordan Hicks got the sort of fluky tipped interception against the Eagles, but but he had a forced fumble against the Packers. He's been a liability in coverage both games. And Asamoah, his MO is, well, besides tackling and being a heat-seeking missile, coverage. Yes. Chase Herman. Lucy, also, yes, I would definitely consider playing Scene over Metellus if Harrison misses on Sunday. Chase Herman, Lucy, not playing more than one defensive snap is basically a healthy scratch. Do you think, looking back at the draft, it'll be generally regarded as a bad draft? It's been 2 games. It's been 2 games, man. We have Ed Ingram currently contributing, but that's about it. Booth is hurt. BA had done well on special teams. Do you think Kwesi getting too cute, moving back to many places? No, it's been 2 games. Anjibu Jr., fortunately, he's been dinged up. I believe in the future of Evans, as well as Asamoah has done some good things at special teams. I think that you'll see him sooner rather than later on defense and Scene. I mean, so he's injured week 1, and I do think that they just gave Metellus more snaps after Harrison left with that concussion because Metellus just is more of a veteran. He's got more experience. But with a full week of preparation without Harrison, I would like to see Lucine in there. Malachi, now that everyone is counting us out again, on average, we lost 9 spots in most power rankings. Do you think our guys will do better since we are in the spotlight and expectation isn't high? Yes. I do think that there's something to be said about a young team not accustomed to the glare, but that's something that they have to get used to, because this team is going to be a good football team for many years to come, and they just got to get used to being favored. They got to get used to being in the spotlight and being at the top of everyone's power rankings. Carter. Will KOC slowly work Rager into the mix and hopefully use him as a Debo type? Yes. I think that you're seeing him more and more. He played, was it 10 offensive snaps out of the 61 week 2 against Philly. So he's being worked into the offense. And yes, we said using him as a Debo, Cordero type player. Go ahead. Sam Wilcox. What's the likelihood we draft a quarterback early next year? It's going to be shaping up to be a very good quarterback draft. I think there could be 4 or 5 taken in the first round. Do the Vikings take a first-round quarterback? It's possible. I mean, Kirk is getting up there in age. Kellerman wasn't the guy. They don't currently have a quarterback of the future on the rooster. Or is it going to be tempting enough where it's like, well, obviously the Vikings are going to be picking 32, but it is like, hey, we're one piece away from repeating. Could be. Marcel Rivera, do you think we need a new defense coordinator? No. Stop it. Stop it. We'll check back after like 10 games, but after 2, no. Zach Ballas, last year, week 2, Cardinals beat us in a nail-biter, eventually made it to the playoffs. This year, Cardinals won nail-biter week 2 as an AFC team. Couldn't close it out. Do you think the Cardinals will win last week, will come back to haunt the Vikings? No. Even when Nuke gets back, I don't believe in the Cardinals. I think the defense is aged out. I think that offensively, they rely too much on Kyler just doing schoolyard stuff. Nah. Study with Matt. Is the Eagles game the second hardest game on our schedule behind the Bills? Also, have you tried this Aussie tradition for sausage and onion in bread with tomato sauce? No, but that sounds delightful. Schedule-wise, let me bring up the schedule. If only I was prepared. If only I was some sort of professional. Schedule PNG. I usually have this on there, except sometimes I forget. It's a Viking schedule. There you go. So, yeah, Bills is 1-1 in terms of toughest game. You're on the road, Orchard Park, Bills Mafia getting after it. Other than that, I mean, discounting division games because they're division, sure. I mean, you got the Colts at home. I don't expect the Colts to be that booty. You got the Cowboys at home. Cardinals are at home. I mean, Dolphins on the road is shaping up to be tough. But, yeah, the Eagles, primetime Monday night, yeah. I would say that could be the second toughest game on the schedule as of right now. Also, kids fundraiser closing out on Friday. You guys have been very generous so far. I think we've generated like $500, $600, somewhere in that. But super chats, Venmo, everything this week is going to the kids fundraiser at the school, playground equipment, all of that. So thank you very much, and very much humble and grateful for everyone who's contributed so far. Mainly because I want to show off to the rest of the parents. I want to flex on them. I was like, hey, screw you. Hey, look what my kid raised. Woo. That's right, man. Because it's all about ego when it comes to kids and parenting. 100%. At least we're honest about it. Let's see here. Cook Prod. Do you think Irv will bounce back from what we saw before the injury, or will he go down as a bust player, blah, blah, blah? It's looking kind of dicey right now, but I think he just has to internalize it. You saw him the rest of the game. He made some tough contested catches for first down, so I think that he's going to use it as motivation. Also, I think that he'll use Johnny Munt being sort of used as tight end 1 as a motivation as well, so hopefully we'll see the best part of Irv. Mac Karpenko. How do you think this game against the Lions will affect the rest of the season? Well, big-time division game. You got to take care of your business at home. Lions are not going away. Frankly, I think it's good that we're getting the Lions early as they're starting to ascend. But, yeah, it's going to go a long way. I mean, the Lions are going to be annoying all the season. And plus, just in terms of morale and confidence-wise, after getting your ass kicked at Philly, like, what do you do when you're back at home against a division foe? Also, your 6-point favorites. Matt Darrellidis. I feel you misunderstood my question from a little time, so I'm going to ask it again. Okay. My question wasn't should they sign JJ to a long-term deal. It was more, would JJ ever want to sign a long-term here with the Vikings? Money always talks, even though money, it doesn't seem like money is the be-all, end-all with Jefferson. It seems a little bit weird in that regard, but who knows? I mean, if the Vikings plop down $35 million a year, I mean, yes, he's going to sign here no matter what. Sean Johnson. Plus, he has to see that they're building the culture the right way. Sean Johnson, how do you think this loss will affect the team going into their bye against the Bears? Sorry, I mean the Lions. I won't go that far, man. The Lions are definitely far from a bye. But we're going to find out what this team is made of. Like, do you get punched in the face and then run away, or do you get punched in the face and throw a couple of your own? Online Alias. Who do you think is the weakest link on defense? I got Patrick Peterson, week 1 Hicks. He did get I think he nailed it there. I do think Patrick Peterson is a liability in coverage as of right now, the way that they're playing their scheme, as well as Jordan Hicks in coverage. It hasn't been great. Maybe it takes a while for him to round into form on a new defense, but I understand he racked up a lot of tackles, had a forced fumble, plus had an interception against the Eagles, but he got picked on in coverage. Tristan D. I'm honestly a bit worried that the Vikings miss the playoffs or don't win a playoff game. JJ is going to get frustrated and would want to leave like Diggs. No, not necessarily. I think that even if the season is frustrating, I think that as long as the offense is clicking, that you have an offensive-minded head coach in Kevin O'Connell. But who is the quarterback of the future? I think that's going to be a valid question, something that hopefully gets answered next offseason. So that could weigh on JJ's thought process. Like maybe he waits to see if the Vikings draft a quarterback of the future in the draft to sign his extension, even though he's going to be eligible next offseason. I don't think that he is just going to run off to Cincinnati and play with Joe Burrow because, I mean, Cincinnati's cheap. Are they going to pay Joe Burrow top tier dollar and also Jefferson and Jamar Chase top dollar? I don't see that. Mr. Schwartz 3. What's your opinion on why the number 84 isn't retired? I think part of it could be that Moss had a relatively short run here in Minnesota. Maybe. I don't see why not. Because I understand the premise of, hey, you could run out of numbers because 88 Alan Pages are retired, 80 Chris Carter's are retired, and those are wide receiver numbers. But the fact that it's opened up now, so you got single digits for receivers, retire, because it went Moss, it went Jenkins, it went Andre Allison, I want to say, then Cordero, and then wasn't Chad Beebe 84 in camp for like a hot second? I want to say that's true. And then Ryan Topper. Do you believe in drafting another corner as a way to fix this problem, or assigning a guy like Marcus Peters or Jamel Dean a better option? Because I think I'd rather sign one of those two. Prefer Jamel Dean. So you're talking next offseason. I would say continue to build young. And I do believe in Caleb Evans. I believe in Cameron Tiny Dantzler. I believe... Although it's so weird, like, why did Dantzler get benched? I don't really understand it. But also, hopefully, Andrew Booth Jr. can stay healthy, because I do think that the Vikings have a very nice contingent of young, lengthy, physical corners that just need some time to marinate. Ty Cox, Smith Jr. dropped a lot of leverage in regards to the coveted second contract that all rookies chase, given his injury history in combination of a compensatory pick. Do the Six Kings make a serious play to retain his services, or likely target a tight end in the upcoming draft? I mean, if he's cheap, sure. Or maybe it could be like a 1 year, $3 million prove-it deal. But as of right now, yeah, given his history and given his performance so far this season, I don't see Irv even getting Tyler Gronklin money in free agency. He's doing some good things with the Jets. Krim, I don't understand how coaches in the football world, Big Eddie, can't see how the scheme and plays aren't working. We're getting torched, blah, blah, blah. Well, it just does seem like guys get married to their scheme to a fault, because it's like, oh, this has worked before, so this is obviously going to work, even though the league has changed a lot. You look at Norv, it's like, well, my offense worked with the Cowboys back when we were winning Super Bowls, because we had Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith and the best offensive line in football, and Michael Irvin and Jay Novacek and Alvin Harper and Daryl Johnson. Of course, it's going to work everywhere I go. Whether it's this thing worked in San Diego, which is German for a whale's vagina. Yeah, and also Zimmer's defense. I mean, we had one of the best defenses in the league in 2017. Yes, that was 5 years ago, bro. Josh Imset. If Kirk fails in the spotlight again throughout the season, how do the Vikings not move on and operate with a cheaper contract quarterback next year? Because they signed him to a 1 year, $35 million fully guaranteed deal with a no trade clause. That's how. I know it's only week 2, blah, 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 blah. Dylan Sunderland. Would you rather have the Vikings get to the playoffs this year as a wild card and win a playoff game, or maybe 2, but no more than 2, or have them hit the wall and get in position to draft Kirk's replacement? I'll take playoffs. I'll take playoffs every single time, but I'm not putting an artificial cap on it. Just have it open-ended. Vikings make the playoff this year, or they tank. One of the two. I will, unless very specific scenarios, like I will never choose tanking. And I understand people's like, oh, but that's how you build a team. It's like, and then how come the Browns, how come the Jets, how come the Lions have had so many Super Bowls as of late? They're constantly drafting at the top of the draft. What's going on, man? Joe. Plasmatic. Why did the team look so different from week 1? Do you think a correlation between different in week 1? Week 1 was the Super Bowl, and the Eagles had game tape on what O'Connell and Ed Dontel wanted to do on defense. Plus, the game plans heading into Philly were just not great. And do you think it's an easy correction, and the Vikings will be more of a week 1 team form, or week 2 the way this team is going to be all year? It's going to be more like week 1. They got away from running the ball. They got one-dimensional on offense, and the defense has to do something. Also, you should check out Real Elastic Randy's podcast, Dude's the most negative Vikings podcast ever. and you should react to him. Yeah. Like, I'll never fault anyone for putting in the hustle, putting in the work, and respect it. From what I hear, there's a lot of Vikings channels out there, which is great. I mean, we always say, is like, hey, if you don't like our stuff, start your own channel. And it seems like a lot of people do. And there's different strokes for different folks. There's a niche for everyone. I mean, you can be positive, you can be negative, you can call balls and strikes, you can do all that stuff. And it's like, hey, you can find an audience no matter how you want to slice the onion. So go ahead.